What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined for the first time on WWE SmackDown live reviews by none other than Mike. Mike, what's going on? I want your quick thoughts on the comparison between SmackDown and Raw, and your thoughts on the current SmackDown product right now, because this is your first time you've been on SmackDown reviews. So,
yes, I'm excited to be on here. I'm excited to review because this show is so good. It's the best wrestling show right now in North America by far. I would rather watch 3 SmackDowns a week than 1 Raw. It's just so much better, way better quality, way better production, way better writing. It's hard to even compare the two because I feel like SmackDown is way up here and Raw, it won't even fit on the screen how low I think that product is right now.
Well, yeah, considering I gave Raw last night a -6 out of 10, I think that SmackDown is a little bit better, and it definitely showcased that tonight. And like myself and Jake said a while back, we said, you know, SmackDown is going to beat Raw in the ratings at some point in the next couple of months, and they finally did that last week. This week, they're going to do it again. I think that a lot more people watch the show because of last week, because of hearing that news, how SmackDown is doing. John Cena came back. They're intrigued with the AJ Styles John Cena thing. SmackDown did a really good job of carrying that over in tonight, and they just do a better overall job of writing their show, booking their show from segment to segment, match to match, and making it an interesting product from week to week. So I think that SmackDown will continue to win the ratings until Raw picks their shit up. So let's get into the SmackDown show, and we'll give you our ratings at the end. But just first off, I like this show quite a bit. I don't really have a lot of complaints. So this is going to be, if you want to see a more positive side of Mitch, this is going to be the show for you to watch, because I'm very negative on the Raw reviews, but something that I set out to do on the YouTube channel for WWE in 2017 is be as straight up as possible. And I feel like I need to just continue that with Raw. If it's bad, it's bad, and I'm going to rip into it. If it's good, I'm going to applaud it. And I'm going to applaud SmackDown for their efforts tonight. I thought it was a good show overall. Let's get into it. All right. So the first segment, we have The Miz with Maryse. This was a promo in the ring, and the show basically started off with their entrance, and they came out, and Miz, basically, because this is kicking off 2017 for SmackDown, says, "You're looking at the it couple, the ratings sparker, the most must-see WWE superstar, and the hottest woman on the planet." And I can't disagree with really any of those claims. Miz, again, is the man and delivers the first sentences just awesome. And like I said, on my top 10 wrestlers of 2016, Miz was my favorite wrestler of 2016. Hopefully he carries that over into 2017. We'll see. Did a good job tonight, and this promo was very good. He continues to say that, you know, in 2017, I want to be more forgiving. And, you know, it's kind of ironic because somebody is going to have to apologize to me tonight. And he continues to say she needs to apologize to me. She needs to come out here and apologize to me. She knows what she did. She knows who she is. Basically, who he's referring to is Renee Young. So he basically asked Renee Young to come out here to apologize to him. But who does he get? Instead, he gets Dean Ambrose. It took a little bit of time to kind of get somebody out because Miz was basically egging him on. He's like, you shouldn't get your professional feelings in the way, your personal feelings, all that sort of stuff. And then Ambrose finally came out. He looked pissed off. He walked down the ramp, and I really like the way that Ambrose, one of the things I appreciate about Ambrose is just the way that he carries himself with his character. Even though I feel like his character needs a lot of work in terms of he needs to do more lunatic things to be a lunatic, I think he carries himself the right way, and he does here. And he walks down to the ring, and we get a lot of, we want Ambrose chants, Ambrose chants in general. Ambrose seems to be kind of a little bit more popular than the last couple of weeks, maybe because he's working with The Miz. So basically what happens is Miz kind of says, Renee's been doing the dirty deeds with Dean Ambrose, and then Miz kind of escapes the ring, and he's walking down the side of the ring while the Miz is going into the ring. Maryse slaps him, and then Ambrose doesn't really know what to do, if he should chase the Miz or not, and he's just kind of looking at Maryse like pissed off. And then Miz and Maryse escape the ring, and they go back. And then Dean is like, you know, at least that'll be like the hardest thing I'll have to do tonight because she hits harder than you anyways. So that was a pretty good promo overall. It was kind of just a way of building into the IC title match for later in the night. Good promo. Of course, The Miz killed it. Dean was very short and simple, but he did a good job there. And I've been looking forward to this feud as it goes on and on week to week as it's been progressing, because we've gotten a lot of good stuff with the Renee angle. I'm excited to see what they do with Maryse and Renee and The Miz and Ambrose every single week. I think this will continue on for a while. So I'm excited, and I really like this promo to get into the match later tonight. Mike, do you have any thoughts on this? I know you started SmackDown a little bit late, so.
Yeah. The only thing I want to mention is how good of a job SmackDown does of making every belt feel so important. IC belt, a year ago felt like it was whatever, who cares? But now it's like, wow, this is a big deal. Like every match matters, and they just do such a good job of promoting each belt and giving it enough time to make it worth something. So I thought it was a really good segment to continue that trend.
Yeah, the IC title, I think, is probably like the most prestigious title right now in WWE because of what The Miz has done. I know the WWE Championship is right up there, but I feel like the IC title from maybe even like a year or 2 years ago feels so much more special than it did a couple of years ago. And The Miz has done a really good job of making it prestigious. And we'll see what happens later tonight with Ambrose winning it and stuff. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. All the titles do mean a lot on SmackDown, a lot more than Raw at least. They make it seem like they matter a lot more, which you're right. Good job for SmackDown. Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler is the first match we get tonight. Not a lot of kind of background coming into this match. The only background was that they wrestled last week and they want a match this week. But the whole story of this match was basically to take place at the end, which is the reason why I thought this match was too long. I thought the match was very good from a technical standpoint. But, you know, I thought it kind of dragged on a little bit too long because the whole story took place after the match and not really during the match. So Corbin, you know, I think he's really improved inside the ring. He's put on some good matches as of late with the likes of, you know, Styles and Ziggler and even Kalisto. And now with Ziggler tonight, he kicked out of the zigzag later in the match. He looks really impressive. He hit the end of days for the win on Ziggler. Very high pace, good match. Ziggler, of course, puts on great performances, great at selling. But Corbin, I think, has continued to improve and continue to impress me. And then what happens is after Corbin wins the match, basically Corbin is going to go grab a chair and destroy Ziggler. So at this point, what I'm thinking is I'm like, okay, so what they're probably doing here is they might, like what I said a couple weeks ago or even a week ago, they should write off Ziggler because he's kind of been a stale character. You rather got to turn him heel or you got to write him off and let him come back later, because we've seen this for a long time now where, you know, Ziggler's just kind of gotten annoying with the same character and he just continues to lose. So they need to do something different with him. So once Corbin grabbed that chair, I was like, this is a way of writing him off, getting him injured, writing him off for a few weeks. So Corbin grabs that chair, but then Kalisto comes out and I'm like, isn't this Kalisto feud already finished by now? But then Kalisto comes out and he kind of saves Corbin, or not Corbin, Ziggler, and throws Corbin out of the ring. So then Ziggler kind of gets up, and you can kind of tell that he's a little pissed off about it. And the camera is like really like just staying on these two guys, so you're waiting for something to happen. Then Ziggler hits the super kick, which was cool. And then Ziggler's like, I only need myself. I can do it myself. I don't need anybody else. So we got a heel turn from Dolph Ziggler, which we'll see a little bit more later in the night. But really cool turn there. It was kind of predictable the way that the camera kind of stayed on them for a little bit. But like I said, my only complaint would be that this match was a little bit too long and they took too long to get to the Ziggler part. But other than that, very good match and very good heel turn.
Yeah, you know, I would agree with that completely. The match I thought was really entertaining. what happened after the match, it was good too. I don't know if you did, but it was a good turn. It was time for Dolph Ziggler to move on, and I think moving forward, probably not with Baron Corbin or Kalisto. I don't really know what he'll be doing. Like, if it comes with that segment we saw later in the show, if he starts dealing with any of those three guys that we saw. But I guess we'll see.
I think my
week.
guess would be, if I was booking it, I think I'd kind of have like Ziggler just kind of try and take out as many guys as possible. You know what I mean? Like, maybe one night you kind of have Rhino go backstage like next week and be like, man, Ziggler, what's up with you? What's going on, man? And, you know, like, he's kind of trying to console him and stuff. Ziggler's really pissed off because he doesn't want any help or anything. And he's kind of like, the lone wolf character that Baron Corbin is, sort of, you know? So Rhino, maybe the first week, tries to go and talk to Ziggler, but Ziggler doesn't like that. So maybe he takes him out later in the night. Something where like Ziggler continues to take out all these guys down the road, like week to week to week, and have different kind of mini feuds with different guys. I don't think you need like a full-time feud right now. I think you just need to establish the new character of Ziggler. And what a better way to do that than to have a lot of different characters like Rhino, you know, all those guys that were backstage kind of from week to week that you don't really have on your show utilized too. So I think first you need to put the character over, and then you focus on the feud.
Yep, completely agree with that.
Let's move on. We have Carmella and James Ellsworth. This is great. Let's just before we get into the segment, let's just get Mike's quick thoughts on Carmella and James Ellsworth. What is going through your mind when you watch this?
I'm not a big fan of it. It's kind of weird. I know a few things backstage, like Carmella and Big Cass being in a relationship. So it's kind of weird knowing that already. And, like, you know it won't really lead to anything because, Vince is crazy. He might.
Really? Okay, I see it totally differently. The way I see it, I think we'll have the match. But first, the segment was Carmella. We'll get to it when we get to the match. I'll get to where I think they're going. But Carmella and James Ellsworth, they have this little backstage thing where James Ellsworth gives her his shirt and stuff, and Carmella is kind of digging James Ellsworth and all this, eyeing him up and, you know, that sort of thing. And James is kind of like stumbling over his words, doesn't know what to say. It's good. I mean, it's funny, and it's kind of like, what the heck is going on here? Because, you know, there's a hot chick and like just this guy with no chin. So it's an interesting story. It's something that's different, and at least it gives them something to do. It's better than nothing. And I think, like, with James Ellsworth, they kind of need to carry over something with this guy. They couldn't just erase him from TV permanently because he was kind of popular. And Carmella was doing a really good job with the Nikki thing. So they want to give her something strong. And I think I'll get to it just a little bit where I think they're going with it. But I think I see it maybe a little bit more. I don't know if Mike, you've been watching as consistently as me. Maybe that's why. But yeah. I think I see where they're going. So then we have the Dolph Ziggler thing, and Dolph Ziggler has the locker room thing where he's throwing stuff around, he's throwing chairs and stuff, and then he attacks Apollo Crews because Crews is like, Kalisto's my friend, so it's my business. Dolph attacks him, and then the rest of the guys kind of separate them. That was a very cool TV segment right there. I always talk about the TV segments, the quick little short TV segments. Very good stuff for building up the character of Ziggler. In that one segment alone, you have more built up on the Ziggler character than you do on most of the characters on Raw. That's not even a joke.
You can thank the cruiserweights for that.
Cruiserweights stink, bro. All right. Becky Lynch versus La Luchadora. Okay. Beck, can you please clarify and tell us who is La Luchadora?
Well, I guess we still don't know, but we saw Alexa Bliss get revealed as the La Luchadora tapping out, which I thought was interesting. But after that, the bell rings, and then the actual Luchadora comes out from under the ring, and then attacks Becky from behind, and then it was a 2-on-1, and then the Luchadora and Alexa Bliss escape, leave the ring. Becky obviously confused, and the audience has another week to try to figure out who this is. And I honestly have no idea who it is.
Really?
I haven't really been searching Google. I don't know who it is.
I have a strong feeling of who it is. So there's been this rumor floating around on the interwebs, right? And
of course.
What?
Of course, yeah. There's always rumors.
Okay, so this rumor is that it's Mickie James, because Mickie James, this makes perfect sense because she signed with the SmackDown brand. Yeah. And I know it doesn't look like Mickie James, all right? This isn't Mickie James right now. They're not going to put Mickie James in La Luchadora outfit for 4 weeks. It's probably just some random girl. It could be even Tamina at this point. It doesn't look tall enough to be Tamina, by the way. But I think it's Mickie James. And it just makes perfect sense. Becky Lynch is one of the top women on the division. How do you want to introduce Mickie James? Maybe her going after Becky Lynch. Makes a lot of sense. So to me, it's Mickie James, and what a better way to introduce her into SmackDown. I think it would be like kind of a shocking moment when she does eventually get, reveal herself or whatever. So as for the match, Becky Lynch won. Do you have any problems with her beating the champion again?
Yeah, I did. I thought it would have been better if the person playing La Luchadora took the pinfall. And then Alexa slides in the ring wearing the costume, and then Becky's like, "What the hell? There's more of you." Yeah. And then they kind of team up and beat her up, and then as they're going to the entrance ramp, Alexa takes the mask off, and the other person just leaves theirs on.
Yeah, that would
I feel
be
like
better.
That would be much better.
In my opinion, I just don't like the champion get pinned so often. It doesn't make your champion look good. Especially
you might as well.
Especially when it's Becky and Alexa, because they've wrestled so often and it's been for big title matches that you're kind of wasting that match on free TV, in my opinion,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
So we have that, but I think it's Mickie James at this point. We'll continue on to the WWE title. So first, before we get into the segment, Mike, what do you think of Cena's comeback, and what do you think of him challenging for the title?
Actually, I like how AJ Styles put it tonight. It's like, you've been gone for 4 months. How do you get a title shot right away? You're the golden boy of this company, so they give you everything. I thought that was really good. I agree completely with AJ Styles. Obviously, repping his shirt. He's probably my favorite guy on that roster personally. But it was good how he put it, and I also agree. I don't think I would have John Cena being in the title picture after 2 shows. So altogether, I'm not a big fan of Cena being in the spot that he is, but he's been in that spot his entire career. It's a good match between the two. Obviously, they had good chemistry and they already had good matches. It's something that can help boost ratings again, like Daniel Bryan did mention. All in all, I kind of hope AJ wins. That's me personally. I kind of want AJ to go into WrestleMania as the champion. I feel like there could be a few good storylines there. I know a lot of other people want Cena versus Taker. I know Mitch. I just don't really see how it'd be possible for Taker to be having a title belt run with how it is now.
This is how I feel about it. I brought it up. Actually, myself and Kev, if you guys watched the last review, kind of brought up this theory of how Taker could be champion. So what I'm thinking here is that they want John Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. So therefore, that means AJ Styles loses the title. AJ Styles very well could hold on to the title and maybe end up facing a guy like, let's say, Samoa Joe. That could happen, and that could very well happen without the title. I don't really think it needs the title for that, but you could also argue that it doesn't need the title for Taker and Cena. But I think that you have something here where Styles, like Cena wins the title for his 16th time, and then maybe the guy to take it off him would be The Undertaker, and what a better way to retire is with the WWE title. This is what I'm thinking. You know how it happens like in the NFL? You know how Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl and then just retired?
Yeah.
Why can't somebody in the WWE do that?
I can understand that, and I could appreciate it. I think there's a lot of people that would scream that it like hurts the value of the title.
How does it hurt the value of the title by The Undertaker winning the title?
No, I understand that. I feel like it could give a fresh start to a new year because, like, obviously the wrestling calendar starts over again. I think with the Raw after Mania, it could start like a tournament that could last like all the way up until SummerSlam. It could be something. Oh, probably not that long, but it could be something.
It could be a fresh start, right?
Yeah. They could crown anyone as champion too then.
Exactly.
And then like their first, like it could be Baron Corbin in his first feud. Maybe he could drop it at SummerSlam. Or like there's just so many possibilities if they were to run a tournament.
See, that's what I'm thinking is like if you have Taker win and retire, then right after WrestleMania, you're pretty much starting a new year. You automatically have all these questions in your mind. All right, so SmackDown, Taker said if he wins, he's going to retire. He won. He retires with the title. He's dropping the title on SmackDown. Now you have a tournament to decide who the next champion is. Therefore, you can build somebody up. Maybe after to that point, maybe a Bray Wyatt has beat Orton at WrestleMania. Maybe he wins the title. You know, maybe the winner of Styles or Joe, or one guy threw out Kurt Angle in the chat. Maybe that happens. You could also have the possibility of Cena being in the tournament. Maybe somebody beats Cena, Corbin, Ambrose, Miz. There are so many different options there for a potential new champion, and it's a great way to keep the viewers' interest because a lot of viewers drop off right after WrestleMania, so you need to keep them interested, especially on SmackDown going forward. So I think that would be an interesting idea there, and I just think the Taker versus Cena for the WWE title is just such a big thing. I think that, to me, having a guy that probably like Samoa Joe, if he was going to face Styles at Mania, or, you know, like for the title, it just doesn't – I don't think you build Joe enough with the casual fan base at that point in time. So I think it kind of would hurt the pay-per-view. That's just my opinion in terms of a business standpoint. The match would be great, but in terms of a business standpoint, what makes you the most money? It's Taker versus Cena, my opinion.
Yeah, like it's hard to not challenge that. That's something that'd be big enough to be the main event. Because you think about it, when you have two titles, every show that Raw and SmackDown has been on a pay-per-view together. Every single time they haven't had a title go on last. It's been like a Lesnar match. That way, probably to not say, hey, this one's more important than this one. But that match is just so big.
It doesn't
match. No one would complain.
It doesn't need explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you could have Cena and Taker, and you probably have Goldberg and Lesnar under that, and then a bunch of other matches.
Yeah.
So
I can agree with that. You swayed my opinion. Undertaker can definitely win at WrestleMania.
All right, cool.
But they have to do it as you said it.
What?
They have to do it as you said it, though. Like I'd want him to like retire and like just hand the belt over. I think that'd be actually a really sweet way to go.
Yeah. All right, and that would be an Undertaker way to go too, right?
Yeah, but I feel like he would also want to go out on his back, but who knows?
Could have done it against Lesnar. I mean,
yeah.
All right, so we do have this segment we haven't got to in a while. WWE title contract signing hosted by Daniel Bryan. So Styles says that, why are we doing this, Daniel? Daniel, we were cut from the same cloth. We wrestled in gyms, wrestled in the indies, all this stuff. I like that. I always like when the WWE puts realism into their writing, and SmackDown does that better than anybody right now. And that's good. Just a quick way to start off the thing. Maybe Styles trying to get a connection with the manager here because he already knows that Daniel Bryan has a pretty big connection with Cena. Styles says, you know, how does this work? How does Cena take off TV for 4 months and then he comes back and he's challenging for the title without even wrestling? And that's exactly what Mike brought up. I think it's totally, this would work so much better if Cena was a heel though, because it would just be like, because I'm John Cena, that's why. You know what I mean? Like, because he's a face, he's still like annoying when he does it, but he's not a true heel. So, you know.
No, I get it though. Like that could be something big. Like if he was a heel, that could have had so many more opportunities. That was I think that segment overall went a little too long, but it was good. It was good for what it was.
Yeah, I did like the whole like Styles was doing the whole gifted the title match from your brother-in-law. Some interesting thing to note. Also, I liked the part where Daniel was talking about ratings. Stephanie did it last night. That was one of the only parts I liked about last night, where Stephanie was like, we need to get better ratings because we're losing in the ratings battle. And Daniel is like, we beat Raw in the ratings. Let's continue this. And that makes a lot of sense if you're going to have Cena and Styles, because those are the two guys that got you the ratings there. So, you know, it makes sense in storyline, and they're bringing realism and business into the show. And it actually makes sense. So therefore, I like it. Styles also brings up The Rock. This is an interesting thing because Mike actually brought up, wait, what if it's Rock versus Styles at WrestleMania? I'm like, yeah, I thought that too, but you know, Rock's my favorite wrestler of all time. I don't really think he's going to be wrestling at WrestleMania. That would be an awesome match, but is it going to happen? Probably not. Would Styles want it to happen? Probably. Would The Rock want it to happen? Depends how much money he's given. I mean, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It'd be sick. I'd be pumped if it happened. Who knows if The Rock could be in shape for like? Obviously, he's in shape, but the last time he had a match, he was gassed 5 minutes in.
Well, I mean, the last time he had a match, he freaking tore his labrum.
I hate when that happens.
Mike knows the experience from that. Yeah, that sucks. Oh, we got.
It could be good though.
Some here. Ronda Rousey versus AJ Styles.
Yeah, that's that might be a 1 second match.
You know what would be an awesome match? If Cena faced McGregor. How awesome would that be?
It wouldn't be that good of a wrestling match. Like, it might be.
Yeah, but just to watch it, man. Like, even.
But it'd be interesting. Yeah, it'd
you know
make
what
for good
would be
TV.
awesome, though? I've been wanting this, and I know a lot of people want him to come back. I don't think it's going to happen, but what I've been saying this. I think I said it to you. What if CM Punk came back and they had McGregor versus CM Punk?
That would be crazy, but like it's so unlikely that either of them ever shows up in WWE. It'd be nuts. It'd be fans would be behind both. It'd probably be the hottest story going.
Yeah,
that would boost ratings for sure.
Anyways, the thing with The Rock, he was saying, you know, you took time off like The Rock, and you told the truth about The Rock back in the day, and how Cena was contradicting himself from the past and saying how he respects The Rock for what he's done and all that stuff on Talking Smack. So that's why The Rock was brought up. Cena also like gives a passionate speech a couple of times. You know, he's like, they chant Cena sucks, he's a has-been, but realize that on their best day, they could never be me. And I'm like, that's pretty heelish. Like, I don't get it. And then Baron Corbin comes out. I actually thought Cena did a pretty good job, and Styles definitely did a good job. One of his better promos in a while. Corbin came out and he says, you know, I've been one of these SmackDown superstars. I've been the guy that won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on his first day, and now I'm joining the Royal Rumble. So I'm going to win the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to face rather you or you at WrestleMania. So it was cool. I like that Corbin came out because he's coming off a big victory over Dolph Ziggler. And obviously, I don't understand why he didn't bring up the fact that, you know, Cena hasn't been here and he's getting a title shot when he should be getting the title shot. I think that could have been maybe a little bit better. if he added that line in there. But regardless, I liked that Corbin came out because he's a guy that's kind of on the rise on SmackDown, and he's making it known that he's entering the Royal Rumble. That's cool. So Cena tries to fight Corbin, but then Styles cheap shot Cena from behind. That was a good end. And you have the whole questions: is Cena done? Is he a has-been? And the thing that this segment tells me more than anything is it's almost guaranteeing that John Cena wins this match, because whenever John Cena enters a title match as the underdog, he wins. Think of the times that he came in as the almighty John Cena. When The Rock came back, WrestleMania 28, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. There's a couple times in the history of John Cena when he's been the guy that is the favorite in the match. And in storyline, he's always lost that match. But when he's the underdog, even though he shouldn't be the underdog, he wins the match. So, you know what I mean? I think that just by history, it shows me that John Cena is probably going to win.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that completely. When you do think about it, like, no business winning, but he does. It's just like this one. Like, I feel like AJ Styles is going to win this match, and that probably means he won't win the match.
Exactly, right? Like, it's like, you know, Styles goes in, looks like the way better guy. Like, he's way more over. You know, he's the guy that's the favorite to win the match in everyone's minds. In the storyline of WWE's the favorite, he looks like the guy that's going to win, but Cena wins because he's the underdog and overcomes the odds. That's just the Cena character, man. I'm just saying. All right. Let's continue. We have a Maryse and Renee short backstage segment. Again, another short TV segment that I really liked in here. And it was immediately following this contract signing with Cena and Styles. So it was a very good way to kind of refocus on the main event tonight, which is Miz versus Ambrose. And you have the whole Maryse is like, this is for my husband, slaps Renee. That was really good. And it was very short, and it kind of kept you intrigued. So I really like that. We had the Carmella versus, was it Aliyah or Aaliyah?
Aliyah.
Okay. So Carmella wrestles and basically wins the match. Kind of knew she was going to win the match. She gets help from Ellsworth to win the match. And what I like about this, because I brought it up earlier, what are they doing with Carmella? What they're doing with Carmella is they're having Ellsworth be her manager, and they're having her use Ellsworth to get to the top of the women's division. That is what they're doing. So they're going to have Ellsworth help her win all these matches. Carmella's going to act like she really loves, you know, Ellsworth, but she doesn't. And at the end of the day, she's just using him as her manager to help her get victories. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I get that, because at the beginning of the night, at the promo, she was kind of disgusted at first when she got the shirt, and then she was like, oh, thank you so much, yeah, kind of played that up. So that kind of ties in exactly what you're saying. The match was okay. That was whatever. Other than that, that segment beforehand, too, with Maryse and Renee Young, I also thought that was really good. I wish they cut it a little sooner, just so Renee wasn't sitting there holding her face instead of retaliating. But like, that was good for what it was. Yeah,
I liked it as well. So that's what they're doing with Carmella there. And we have a comment here. He basically says, first he says storylines are all rematches, basically. And then he says, what's up with the rematch at the main events every time? Why don't we do new storylines? And I think he's referring to Cena and Styles.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think it's stale yet. It's been months, obviously 4 months since the last time we've seen John Cena. It's a ratings spike, obviously, going back to last week. I don't know if it was Kevin Dunn's handiwork, but Cena was overwhelmingly the face there being cheered, and Styles was obviously the heel. Like, it goes through WWE's entire existence that, like, the feuds are the same. Even WCW was Sting versus NWO for a long, long period of time. There's just so many things like New Japan, Okada, and Tanahashi for years are the main event. The reason why it's because it's a rivalry. It's like Cena Orton. That's something that's happened forever, like 8 years. Like they could always throw them together.
It's gonna be like Sasha and Charlotte.
I think that one's a little different. I kind of like it when the main events switch from like month to month a little bit, like some longer feuds for the bigger things. Like I don't have a problem with a year-long feud, but I do like a rivalry where like every 3 months or something they come back and like fight each other again. Or if one person wins a title, the next guy comes in. It's like the UFC. When Bisping won his title, the first person he fought was Dan Henderson because Henderson kicked his ass last 2 times they fought. That's the thing. It's a rivalry, and when they come together, it spikes ratings. So that's exactly why they're doing it.
Good explanation. Don't really need to add anything there. American Alpha versus the Fashion Police. That's what I'm going to call them. All right. My thing here is I think they act like the tag team division, or at least they book the tag team division as the worst division, the lowest priority on the show.
Thin. It's thin
because
though.
What?
Well, it's a thin division. I think they kind of are stuck in a corner.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, it is. We have American Alpha versus Fashion Police, and the Alpha win very quick, like 2 minutes. And then the Wyatt family, like, thank God it was only 2 minutes because it wouldn't have made any sense. So they get a good win after they won the titles. My thing here is, why are we having them wrestle after they win the titles? We still haven't established their character. I mean, this was my problem with American Alpha winning the titles. They need a character. They need to solidify what they're about. And all we've really seen from them is wrestling matches. And don't get me wrong, they're very good at that. But we need a character for them. That is why I didn't think they were ready to win the titles. And if they continue on this path, I don't think they'll be great champions because they need something. But I'm pulling for SmackDown because I know they could do it right. All right. Then they have a Wyatt promo. And basically Bray Wyatt says, nothing lasts forever. Cherish this moment because sooner or later it will end. You haven't really won anything yet. And the interesting thing here is that he says, you may think that you have stolen the light from the family, but you have just made it stronger. Next week, we will reclaim the titles or reclaim what is rightfully ours. There's 2 things that were interesting about this promo. First off, we have the fact that Wyatt is saying that they have become stronger because they lost the titles when a lot of people thought that they were going to split up. And maybe they still will in the next couple of weeks. Maybe they even will next week. But that's something to note. And the second thing is that Randy Orton interrupted Harper from saying run, and he said it himself. Usually Harper says that. Usually Harper says that, and Randy stole it from him.
It's kind of funny. I wonder how tight they really are.
Exactly.
But with what you're saying about the American Alpha, it honestly gives me an idea for another video that I want to talk about the problem with NXT call-ups right now, because that is an issue that their character was developed in NXT, and then you're just expected to know it by now. But they are fantastic wrestlers, and I think Jason Jordan has a bright future. He has a look.
I do too. I continue to say, like, every SmackDown, I'm like, this guy looks like a star.
Oh yeah.
I think he has something there. So I want them to do well. I just need them to develop as a character.
Yeah.
Okay. Nikki Bella and Natalya have a promo, and this was one of Mike marked out for this one. We have Nikki, of course. He marked out for Nikki just because. Look at her. And then we have Natalya. And Nikki says, I feel bad for you. You think it's all about, our looks and all about that something. But, it's not about our looks. We work hard and all that stuff. It's basically the same kind of opening to the segment that they had the last couple of weeks. They've been having really good promos lately, at least in my opinion. Like, storyline, wise, it's been very good. And I think, again, this is another feud that has been a lot more realistic. Raw is very fake in the way that they do their feuds, but now they're bringing real life into it. They're bringing more of that. I know it sounds funny, but they're bringing more of the Total Divas in it. Like that is kind of what they try to do on Total Divas, but not quite as edgy. And they're kind of bringing this edge into it, that Nikki is really with Cena because it's Cena, and that Cena's only with Nikki because of her looks, and that Natalya's only in the company because of what family she's in, and she's only there because of Brett and her sharpshooter, and her entrance is the only cool things about her, and that was because of Brett and the Hart Foundation, and that Natalya's all there for her Nikki's all there for her sex appeal, that sort of stuff. And that's kind of like edgier stuff than we've seen in the last little while from WWE. And it's more realistic, which makes it more compelling when you're watching it. And it makes both people that are performing it believe it more because it's more realistic. So you could actually believe what is happening right now. So Nikki, at the end of all that, knocks out Natalya. And it was a vicious forearm at the end. And Nikki kind of just leaves up the ramp and just lays out Natalya. I thought it was very good. Another good promo from both of them. Nikki, like you said, Nikki's gotten a lot better on the mic. I say, she has her spots. There are spots when I feel it's too scripted for her and she does a really terrible job acting. But then at times she can do a pretty good job. Same with Natalya. I mean, she's not very good on the mic, in my opinion. But like with stuff like this, it's hard to be bad, in my opinion. So it's good writing.
Yeah. Why I enjoyed it so much is how good a job both performers did writing. And I have absolutely no problem with them ever doing that. It makes you feel way more into it. I thought it was a really good segment, and I feel like they could have a good match going forward. I like where both Natalya and Nikki are. I feel like they've improved a lot just from the brand split. Like, I don't know what it is, but like the SmackDown women's division, because it's not tied to, like, they are doing so much better. Like, even if they're less talented, I'd much rather watch the women's division in SmackDown than Raw.
Because it's the storylines, bro. It's characters, it's storylines. That is what people are interested in. I say it on every rant that I do. And people, this is the #1 example. Look at SmackDown and look at Raw. All right? Last night, we had 9 matches in Goldberg on Raw. It sucked. It was awful. And tonight, we have SmackDown. We have, a little bit of a match that sets up a storyline. We have a cool segment backstage. And then for like a minute. And then bam, we're back into the ring with the promo. Bam, we're backstage. Bam, we're over here. We're over there. We're doing TV segment. We're doing match. We're building characters with Ziggler in the locker room. We're doing so many more things to build the show up. And on Raw, it's in-ring promo at the start of the show for 20 minutes. It's 3 matches in a row that nobody cares about. Then it's interview backstage. Then it's main event match. Then it's Goldberg. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. All right. Dean Ambrose has an interview, and this was the only interview, I think, of the night. So good. You didn't have that many interviews. And thank God you only had one, because the one that is interviewing is terrible. I mean,
it was so bad.
Mike, any thoughts on the interviewer?
How could you be in that position, especially an interviewer, and stutter that much? Like, you think someone would probably have to go to school to learn how to do that, or promo class at least with WWE. I feel like they just found some bum in the crowd and like, hey, do you want to be on WWE TV today? And yeah. And then here's a script. We just want you to say that out loud. And then stuttered. It was so horrible. That was rough. I was ashamed watching that. I was embarrassed for her. It was so bad. And then Dean Ambrose totally came in and like stopped her. And to me, just amplified it even more, because he tried to be intense from someone who's trying to clean up her words. She didn't even finish.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty amusing.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Bad, though.
Ambrose was like super intense. He's like, I'm going to take away the only thing in Miz's life that means anything. You know, it was almost like Joker-esque, you know, what Ambrose was saying there. And it just didn't work because the interviewer sucked. So clean up your act, all right? We got Dean Ambrose versus The Miz for the IC title. Pretty good match. Starts off very well. It goes outside the ring. A lot of intensity. You can tell that there's like a personal fight is going on because we know the story that is happening. And that is what I mean with matches. And this isn't even a pay-per-view match. This is just a SmackDown match. But when I watch a SmackDown match, I'm a lot more invested because I know what they're doing in storyline. So when I know that a storyline is effective and I'm enjoying the storyline, I care about the match more. When you watch these Raw matches that don't mean anything, and even these Raw pay-per-view matches where Charlotte and Sasha don't even really hate each other, they just want to make history, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't work when they're having a personal match like a Hell in a Cell. It doesn't work. And at least with Ambrose and The Miz, when they're doing this stuff and they're fighting outside the ring and they're trying to hit each other with like chairs and shit, it makes sense. So they had this match. It was good. Maryse like slaps Ambrose outside the ring, and like Ambrose was gonna get like disqualified or something, or she was gonna get disqualified, I think. And then basically what happens is Maryse gets banished from the match by the ref. Like he influences the ref's decision to banish Maryse from the ring. So Maryse is no longer there, which was interesting. The way I would have booked this, I actually told Mike, I'm like, I think that Ambrose is going to win tonight. But the way I probably would have done it was had Renee involved somehow. Maybe have Renee like while Maryse is distracting the ref, maybe have Renee like trip her up from behind or something, and then Dean hits the dirty deeds. That would have been fine for me. But they did it a different way, which is cool. Ambrose basically won straight up. After he kicks out of a bunch of things, he kicks out the title, getting knocked out by the title, getting knocked out by the skull crushing finale. He kicks out of both of those, and then he wins the IC title with the dirty deeds. Interesting. I want to see where this feud goes in the future. I'm intrigued by all four characters involved, but I probably would have had Renee a little bit involved in the decision of this match. That's just my opinion, but I want to see where it goes, and I'm intrigued.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought it was a pretty decent match. I personally wanted the Miz's reign to go on a little longer. I'm not too upset with the decision, but then again, I still like the Miz with the title, unless they have bigger things planned for him, or if this feud is going to keep running for a while, which I guarantee will. It at least goes to the Rumble. Like, there's no way it stops tonight, but this feud has a possibility of being one that kind of shines the brightest come the Royal Rumble. And altogether, I didn't have too many problems with the match. I didn't like how long it took the ref to signal that he wanted a disqualification for Ambrose to say, "Hey, no, don't do that." Because that's not how realistic it was compared to the other times a disqualification has happened. But the other thing I didn't like too much was the ending. Like, obviously the title shot, like something like that, I don't really think you should be kicking out of. Like, I also don't like people kicking out of finishers that much. Kind of a finisher should be like, oh, he hit it, match is over. But the title shot, I wish he didn't really do it that way. Maybe just like a cheap shot from behind or something. But I don't really have that many problems with it. It's a fine ending. I'm excited to see where they go from here. I hope the Miz picks the title back up at some point over the course of this feud.
I think he will. I think this kind of feud is going to continue on for a little bit. Some people think Miz is going to move on to bigger and brighter things. Maybe that will happen. I don't see that happening at WrestleMania as much as I want that to happen. Actually, a video coming out tomorrow. Check it out on the channel. It's going to be top 5 champions that I want to see in 2017. So 5 guys that didn't win the championship, the world titles, Universal, WWE titles in 2017 that haven't won it in 2016 or in the past couple of years. So 5 guys new to the title scene. That video will be coming out tomorrow, and that is something that I want to see The Miz with. Spoiler alert. So I think bigger and better things are coming for The Miz. I just don't see it happening right away. I think this feud is going to happen for a while, and I think it could and it should. So I enjoyed it. Match was pretty good. Overall, SmackDown was very fun to watch tonight. A good TV show. Not just good wrestling, but good TV and fun to watch. What would you give the grade for SmackDown tonight?
SmackDown tonight, I thought was a really good show. Kept my interest. I enjoyed it. I would have to go with an 8.5 out of 10. I liked it. A few things I could have done different to boost it a little more, but it was a good show. I enjoyed it a lot.
What would your grade be, Mike?
8.5 out of 10.
8.5?
Yeah.
Damn. That's a good show. All right. I'm going to give SmackDown an 8 out of 10. One of the better episodes of like the last few weeks, at the very least. Very good from start to finish. Very entertaining. Not too much wrestling, good wrestling when they did wrestle, good segments, good character build, good stuff going into the Royal Rumble. Very much enjoyed it. And entertaining, number one thing. 8 out of 10. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more SmackDown, Raw, NXT, pay-per-view reviews, wrestling videos, sports videos. It's all on The Bottom Line View. From Mitch and Mike. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.